My wife and I are both liars. She lied to me 99 times, saying she would forget her first love, but she never did. As for me, I only lied to her once. I tricked her into signing the divorce agreement. Today is the last day of the divorce cooling-off period. 3 hours left on the countdown. I packed all my luggage and bought a plane ticket for an overseas trip. 2 hours left. I cut up all the photos with her and left only pictures of myself in the album. 1 hour left. I recorded my final video for her. Wife, this is the 10th year of me loving you, and the first day of me leaving you. When she saw the video later, she went insane. Chapter 1. Why is this wedding agreement so thick? Jenny frowned as she flipped through the pages, but she still didn't sign it. After all, she was a well-known female CEO in City A, not someone who could easily be deceived. And on the second-to-last page, I had secretly slipped in the divorce agreement. I lowered my head, but there was no real tension in my heart. It seems like there are a lot of compensation clauses. If you have time, feel free to read through them. She wouldn't have the time. Today was the day her first love, Joaquin, was returning to the country. Back when Joaquin got engaged, she, in a fit of anger, chose to marry me. Now that Joaquin was divorced, she got drunk and, when sober, asked me to redo the wedding. It was all just to provoke Joaquin's return. My marriage was merely a tool in their emotional game. Sure enough, the impatience on Jenny's face was clear to see. I need to head out to pick someone up. I don't have time for this. A flash of joy passed through her eyes. The impatience was directed at me. That joy would only be for Joaquin. In a rush, Jenny signed the papers and left me with nothing but her back. 3 days ago, Jenny suddenly brought up the idea of having a wedding redo. We'd been married for 5 years with no grand ceremony or public announcement. Only our parents and closest friends knew. Even in her news profiles, she was still labeled unmarried. Occasionally, the gossip columns talked about her and Joaquin's tortured love story. As someone who was practically in a hidden marriage with her, I never had the right to put my name out there. The truth is, I always knew. Jenny had a first love, a man she loved deeply. In 5 years of marriage, she did show me some tenderness, but not much. I tried to make her get used to my presence with love, but in this home, there was never a smile on Jenny's face, until that day, when Jenny, usually sober, drank herself senseless. The smile never left her face. I secretly found out that Joaquin had divorced. I took care of her until midnight. Using Joaquin's birthday to unlock her phone, I opened the photo album, which was almost full. Only Joaquin, not me. The cover of the digital album was our wedding photo, but my face had been photoshopped into Joaquin's. I remember when we registered our marriage, Jenny refused to have a wedding, but insisted on taking wedding photos. So this is the truth. At that moment, I knew. This 5-year marriage was finally coming to an end. All that was left was the cooling-off period for the divorce. The countdown. 1 month. Coincidentally, the wedding Jenny promised to redo with me also had only 1 month left. Chapter 2. Countdown. 20 days. Jenny has been coming and going even more frequently than before. The wedding she once promised seemed as though it had never existed. Occasionally, I'd see her best friend's posts on social media, and in the corner of the photos, there was always an image of her arm in arm with some man. That face, I had seen it in her photo album on her phone. This day, one of the partners at the company stopped me. Bring the design drafts later. We're going to meet with the client to sign the contract. I heard the client this time is Jenny's rumored lover. I nodded, a bit distracted. Though he was my business partner, none of them knew that I knew Jenny. They also didn't know about our secret marriage. The client's office was located right downstairs from Jenny's company. I knew this was Joaquin's new company that he founded upon returning to the country. It was backed by Lin Group's investment. The financial news recently had been all about their past relationship being rehashed. We entered the CEO's office, and unsurprisingly, I saw Jenny. She was holding a beautifully wrapped box, handing it to the man sitting in the CEO's chair, Joaquin. Jenny's expression froze the moment she saw me. Everyone in the room sensed that something was off. Joaquin's gaze toward me was tinged with amusement. "And who is this?" he asked. Jenny fell silent, seemingly pondering how to explain. I smiled and introduced myself to everyone. "My name is Angelo, and I'm the designer for this project. I'm also Jenny and I said in unison, "a college classmate." As soon as the words left our mouths, my hand that was holding the design draft began to feel cold. My fingertips left a mark on the paper. This wasn't the first time I had to cover for Jenny, and it wasn't the first time Jenny had tried to hide my identity. The so-called secret marriage had hidden our true relationship, but it also made clear the inevitable conclusion we were headed toward. The business meeting didn't go smoothly from there. Jenny resumed her role as a business elite, representing Joaquin, and pressed hard during the negotiation. Reduced the price by another 10%. Jenny pushed our profit margins and bottom line to the absolute limit. My partner hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth and agreed. Alright, Jenny really lives up to her reputation. She knew our bottom line perfectly. Jenny turned her head, and for the first time, she didn't dare to look at me. This woman was indeed as ruthless as the rumors said. Only now, she was using it against me. Her legal husband, Joaquin, had remained silent the entire time, only glancing at me with a hint of provocation. Then he reached for the wrapped box on the table. Let's have some cake. Unexpectedly, Jenny, who had been calm throughout the negotiation, impatiently grabbed it from him. Joaquin, don't touch it. You're allergic to peanut butter. Let me check it first. At that moment, everything before me felt like sharp knives. It pierced my heart until it was bleeding. In 5 years of marriage, this woman had forgotten our anniversary, mistaken my birthday, and never paid attention to anything I asked her to remember. But she always remembered that I was allergic to peanut butter. I had secretly taken some satisfaction, thinking that perhaps these other little details revealed her lack of love for me. But there was one detail, too, that told me she cared about me, just a little. Only now did I realize that care was also fake. Chapter 3. The project was progressing quickly, but Jenny felt it was slow. She had emphasized this more than once to my partner. This is Joaquin's first project since returning to the country. I don't want it to fail. I watched the drama with some indifference. After the negotiations that day, when we got home, Jenny hesitated for a long time on the sofa. Eventually, she explained to me, after all, we're still in a secret marriage, and haven't found the right opportunity to explain it. We'll make it public, eventually. Right now, our priority is to handle this project well. I nodded without comment. I didn't remind her that the real priority seemed to be our upcoming wedding, and I definitely didn't remind her that by that time, the divorce cooling-off period would be over. After all, in her eyes, Joaquin was still the most important. During the project, Jenny deliberately avoided any action that might reveal my meetings with Joaquin, but it still raised suspicions from my partner. He asked me with some curiosity, "Did you and Jenny have something going on before?" I chuckled. "No way." My partner sneered. "She's looked at you several times with this guilty look." Clearly a woman feeling guilty, looking at her ex. I paused, then thought back for a long time. I had noticed it, but all the past made it impossible for me to confirm the meaning behind her gaze. The countdown began. 10 days. That day was supposed to be the regular project meeting day. Joaquin talked to me for quite a while, both intentionally and unintentionally, and I could tell he probably guessed the nature of my relationship with Jenny, but I still responded politely. After the meeting, Jenny surprisingly offered to drive me home. This was the first time. Your work performance really exceeded my expectations. After 5 years of marriage, this was the first time this woman had complimented me. I paused while packing up my documents, looking at her with some confusion. Jenny hesitated for a long time before finally asking, "Is it too late to reschedule the wedding?" I lowered my head, knowing that she probably wanted to cancel the wedding, most likely because of Joaquin. "Then let's cancel it. There's not much time left anyway." I looked at her without addressing it, not wanting to make things awkward between us. Jenny was stunned. As though she had received an answer she couldn't believe, she suddenly asked, "You don't mind?" Indeed, if it had been before, I might have lost control and demanded an answer right then. So many of the uncomfortable moments in our marriage happened because I lost control, although all my outbursts were caused by her. I shook my head. What's there to mind? It's just a ceremony. After a long silence, Jenny spoke again. "How about, in a few days, I go with you to the nearby ancient city to relax?" I looked at the countdown on my phone, only 10 days left in the divorce cooling-off period, and rejected her offer. Her hands on the wheel stiffened, nearly running through a red light. "How about the beach? Or that Western restaurant you've been wanting to go to?" Jenny suggested several ways to relax, but I rejected them all. By the time we got out of the car, her face had gone from awkward and guilty to confused and displeased. I noticed her expression and suggested, "How about we go check out the old house?" The old house was where Jenny and I had lived when we first got married. I really did miss it a bit. Jenny froze for a while, as if trying to guess my thoughts. Even after I got out of the car, she stayed inside, sitting there for a long time. Chapter 4. The divorce cooling-off period. Countdown. 1 day. Perhaps we had developed an understanding, but Jenny and I had become almost unable to appear together at project meetings. However, sometimes when Joaquin wasn't around, Jenny would unexpectedly come downstairs at the project meetings. She wouldn't speak, just occasionally glance at me. I didn't really understand what was going on in her mind lately, nor did I want to understand. I began to move out little by little, trying to do it without her noticing, but she still found out. That day, after the meeting, Jenny took the initiative to invite me to sit in her office. Once seated, she asked, "You've moved quite a bit of stuff out recently, and I haven't seen you come home to stay." I nodded and gave a reason I had already prepared. "Yeah, I've been staying at the old house for a while." Jenny's expression hesitated. "I've been thinking a lot about the wedding. and I can still arrange a makeup ceremony. I interrupted her. There's not enough time left. It's fine. Her expression was surprised. What do you mean, there's not enough time? I hesitated, wondering if I should show her the divorce agreement that I had already signed. Just then, Joaquin called at the perfect moment, helping me out. I looked at her phone screen and smiled. You should go ahead and take care of things. There's no rush to discuss this. Jenny turned the door handle, and to express her apology, she turned around to reaffirm a promise to me. I'll definitely go to the old house to see you tomorrow. The next day, she still broke her promise. I sat on the sofa at the old house, looking down at my phone. Countdown, 12 hours. A news app popped up with a local headline. Joaquin was featured on a new project, with Jenny standing behind him. As I thought back to the promise she made yesterday, I couldn't help but chuckle to myself. If she knew these were my last 12 hours, would she still break her promise? Maybe she wouldn't. Maybe she would. But the answer no longer mattered. I spent a few hours tidying up the house. In the empty old house, there wasn't much of my stuff left. It was just the place where we had gotten married, and I still missed it. I called my partner, although I had already informed him. I still said my goodbyes. Then, I called the lawyer. The divorce agreement was notarized a month ago. I don't need to do any more paperwork. Right. The lawyer's reply was brief. No need. After a pause, I could hear his congratulations. Congratulations, Angelo. I smiled and hung up the phone. I quietly stayed there until evening. Countdown, 3 hours. I packed all my belongings and bought a plane ticket for the next day. Countdown, 2 hours. I cut up all the photos of her and me, leaving only ones of myself in the album. Countdown, 1 hour. I neatly placed the divorce agreement on the table. I had thought about leaving a note, but in the end, I decided against it. All I could do was silently think to myself, wife, this is the last time I'll call you my wife. I loved you for 10 years. Loving someone for 10 years is very hard, but I've chosen to let go. Congratulations to you, and to me. With my luggage in hand, at the exact moment the countdown ended, I placed my hand on the door handle. It was over. My marriage. I didn't expect the door to open from the outside. Jenny, sweating, clearly just having finished exercising. She was out of breath, the smile on her face tinged with a bit of guilt. Sorry, Gello. I just dropped someone off. She paused, her eyes falling on my luggage and the plane ticket in my hand. Where are you going? Chapter 5. I turned the plane ticket over to show her, and it displayed the name of a city 3,000 kilometers away. Jenny furrowed her brows. Why are you suddenly going to such a faraway place? You didn't even tell me. What if something happens? I shrugged nonchalantly. There's no need to worry. It's just a normal work transfer. Jenny grabbed my wrist, not quite believing me. So suddenly, haven't we just finished a project together? Are you just leaving it behind? I gently pried her fingers off, keeping a distance between us. The project is nearly complete. The rest is up to my partner. I have other projects to handle. But the small step I took back seemed to hurt Jenny. She looked at me with a confused expression, her outstretched hand trembling slightly, but she wouldn't let it drop. It was as if she sensed something and asked me, When will you come back? I shook my head and smiled. I'm not coming back. Sadness immediately crept over Jenny's face. She stared at me in disbelief, trying to reach for me, but I kept stepping back, avoiding her. She looked like a dog that had just been abandoned, wanting to approach but too scared to do so. In a rush, Jenny ran out, bringing back a huge bouquet of roses. 999 roses. It was the affection Jenny and I had never received from each other. From our dating to our marriage, Jenny held the bouquet out to me. On my way here, I already prepared the wedding. For this weekend. Gello, don't go. Didn't you always want this wedding? This week, I'll be with you. I looked at the enormous bouquet of flowers and thought back to when we first got married, when I had asked her for just one rose. At that time, Jenny had refused. Later, I found out in her journal that, in her heart, a love rose could only be given to the person she truly loved. Now, seeing this massive bouquet, the joy I should have felt was replaced by an overwhelming sense of calm. It seemed I had truly let go. I took the bouquet from Jenny's hands and, in front of her, tossed it into the trash can at the old house's doorstep. In an instant, Jenny's expression shifted from surprise to bewilderment. I thought I would feel thrilled, feeling like I had succeeded in my revenge, but I didn't. Jenny's every attitude had long since stopped affecting me. Angelo, Jenny called my name, but she couldn't get the next words out. It was as if saying anything would be rejected, as if nothing she said could get the answer she wanted. I don't need your flowers. I'm leaving now. Goodbye, Jenny. This was the first time in 5 years I had said her name so seriously, and I hoped it would be the last. I dragged my suitcase out the door, and the massive luggage took everything I had from the old house with it. Jenny looked inside, and the place seemed empty, devoid of life. What I left behind was no different from a show home. Jenny finally grasped the most off-putting detail, panicking as she grabbed my suitcase, asking, Are you really not coming back? I yanked the suitcase from her one last time, firmly drawing a clean line between us. We're already divorced. What reason do I have to come back? Upon hearing this, Jenny's eyes slowly widened. She probably thought she had misheard, or maybe she had hallucinated. Jenny awkwardly smiled and gently shook her head. No, this can't be happening. She tried to step forward to grab me, but because I kept pulling away, she didn't dare to act. She was afraid that if she made a move, I'd truly run away. We just stood there, frozen in place. You're joking, right? Jenny asked tentatively, but her voice already lacked conviction. Divorced? You never brought it up with me, and I never agreed to it. Jenny was getting a little frantic as she spoke. I didn't want to get entangled any longer. I turned around, holding my luggage, and left, leaving her with just one sentence. The divorce agreement is on the table. You can check it yourself. I called a cab to the airport. Upon hearing my words, Jenny rushed into the old house. On the table lay the divorce agreement I had prepared long ago, with Jenny's name signed on it. Her handwriting was delicate but strong. Jenny wouldn't fail to recognize her own handwriting, but she didn't know when she had signed her final farewell to me. On my way to the airport, I received a call from Jenny, but I didn't answer. Instead, I pulled out my SIM card and snapped it in half. The driver, seeing my actions, couldn't resist teasing me. Did you have a fight with your girlfriend? I denied it. No, just my ex-wife. The driver was a chatterbox, and once he started, he didn't stop. Is it really necessary to divorce and cut all ties? Did she cheat on you? For a moment, I didn't know how to answer the driver's question. No one knew whether Jenny and Joaquin had done anything. Even if she cared a lot for Joaquin, she always managed to keep it within safe bounds. She was untouchable. Joaquin also acted like a proper gentleman, looking like nothing more than her good secretary. Kind of, I replied. When the driver heard that, he became even more animated, complaining about how today's men don't care about family, just like his son-in-law. It seemed like I had touched a sore spot for him, and so I just listened as he rambled on for quite a while. Before I knew it, we had arrived at the airport. I grabbed my luggage, checked in, and went through security. The plane wouldn't take off for another hour and a half. Finally, I could say goodbye to the life that had tortured me for 10 years. Just as I was about to reach the security line, the people behind me scattered. Jenny ran out of breath, charging toward me, pulling me out of line. She tore the divorce agreement to pieces right in front of me. I never signed this. It doesn't count. Chapter 6. I looked at the pieces of paper scattered around, letting out a frustrated sigh. This is a public place. Please don't litter. Jenny furrowed her brows, not expecting my response to be about such a trivial matter, but she just kicked the scraps aside and grabbed my arm, trying to pull me away. I don't acknowledge this divorce agreement. Let's remarry. I stumbled for a moment, then regained my balance. The signature is yours. I told you to read the marriage agreement carefully, but you didn't. How can you blame me for that? But Jenny didn't listen to me. She just kept pulling me. No matter how much she tugged, I didn't move. I knew she wasn't using force. She was just testing me, trying to get me to walk with her. I'm a stubborn person by nature. I was like this when we were dating. Once I make a decision, I stick to it. The only person I ever gave in to was Jenny. Whenever Jenny asked me for something, I would give up my principles for her. 4 or 5 years, again and again, Jenny crossed my bottom line, making her believe that if she wanted something, I would change everything for her, because I loved her. And now, she was trying to pull me, trying to make me change my decision. But I stood my ground, unwilling to budge. Jenny held onto my hand, but eventually, she let go. She knew I didn't love her anymore. That day at the airport, Jenny stood in the middle of the scattered paper, surrounded by people coming and going, whispering to each other. She had never experienced these things before, yet she didn't move an inch. She gathered all the scraps of paper, keeping them close, as if guarding them meant I would return. But I had already boarded the plane heading to the other end of the country. I watched the plane weave through the clouds, completely oblivious to the pity play Jenny was putting on at the airport. I landed in the unfamiliar coastal city with a light heart. I bought a new SIM card and first contacted my partner. Then I blacklisted everyone in my social media who had any connection to Jenny. I didn't watch any of the videos they sent me of Jenny crying at the airport. I deleted them all, every single one. My phone was now clean, free of all the annoying reminders. I focused on building my new company here, shifting its business operations to this side. The busy life left me no time to think about women. It turns out that living without caring about women is so refreshing. My partner called me for an online meeting, excitedly telling me that the project over there had concluded perfectly. There had been many obstacles along the way, but fortunately, the final outcome was good and didn't affect our profits. I asked casually what had happened to the project after I left. Without much thought, my partner replied, "It wasn't a big deal. It was the representative from Lynn's side, apparently. They were dismissed for a major mistake. I saw Jenny pampering him like a pet, and I thought there was some hidden intimate relationship. Turns out, it was nothing. I couldn't help but laugh at the news. Yeah, when Jenny and I were still married, she had no hesitation in slashing my prices for her own benefit. As for her relationship with Joaquin, it was just a phase of flirtation. A woman like Jenny only cared about herself. Chapter 7. My partner said he'd be coming over in a little while to help me expand the business here. We'd been partners for many years, so saying goodbye to him wasn't easy. Although I didn't expect him to come over as well, I felt truly honored. I had rented a small cubicle here as my office, and for now, the only employee I had was a young assistant. Every day, I'd take her downstairs to buy little cakes from the cafe on the first floor as a reward for a busy day's work. The woman who made the cakes was a beauty, long black hair, wearing a white chiffon dress. My assistant drooled every time we went. That afternoon, my assistant had to process a pile of data and needed a sugar boost, so I had to go downstairs to buy her some cakes. When I got there, everything was sold out, and the owner asked me to wait while she baked fresh ones. I sat at the bar to wait. The cafe had a tablet playing news and TV dramas. While replying to my assistant to calm her down, I heard Jenny's name mentioned on the news. I looked up, and there she was, wearing a ring on her hand, being interviewed by a reporter. "I've never seen you wear a ring. Could it be that you just got married?" the reporter asked. Jenny shook her head. "I've been married for 5 years. We just didn't make it public before due to various reasons." The reporters were all shocked and offered their congratulations. But then someone asked, "Why didn't you announce it earlier? Was there some unspoken reason?" Jenny's expression suddenly became quite dramatic. She furrowed her brows, gazed into the camera with deep emotion, and said, "I made him angry, so I didn't deserve to be acknowledged by him." In an instant, this heartfelt confession went viral on every media platform. Within 5 minutes, even a dramatic compilation of her love story was up. For a moment, I couldn't tell if it was because netizens were too idle or if Jenny had bought some online buzz. I just felt disgusted, like I had swallowed a fly. The beautiful boss brought out the freshly baked cakes and, seeing my expression, joked, "Why the face? You'd think you found a cockroach in one of my cakes." I replied to her, "You've made me sick with this video. Don't you think it should come with some compensation?" The boss laughed and grabbed another cake from the tray, handing it to me. "Of course, I'll compensate. Have a taste of this new flavor, and let me know what you think." I didn't hesitate and accepted her offer. A week later, my partner arrived, but because of jet lag, he was completely wiped out. I had to go to his hotel to take care of him. He handed me the materials for tomorrow's meeting with the client, and I was stunned. How could someone be so obsessed with work? But since he had collapsed, I had no choice but to go in his place. After all, it was our business. Whoever did it didn't matter. But as soon as I got to the hotel, I regretted it. I immediately called my partner. "You didn't tell me the client was Jenny." My partner, already on the brink of exhaustion, suddenly perked up when he heard this. "Impossible. I can't have made such a mistake." Just as my partner and I were still figuring out how this happened, Jenny walked up from behind me. "I applied to meet with your client. I wanted to see you." I turned to face her. Jenny stood 3 meters away from me, not daring to come closer. She was being extremely cautious around me, afraid that any wrong word might trigger me. "I know you don't want to see me, but I can't let go of you. Gello, please, give me another chance." I rolled my eyes. "What chance? Do you want a chance to get kicked out?" I didn't even finish the meal with her. My partner scolded the client for their unprofessional behavior of changing representatives without notice. The client had never been treated like this before, being yelled at by a partner and not daring to speak up. After my partner finished venting, he said to me, "Let's just cooperate with her." I thought he had lost his mind, but then he added, "Don't you want to see her look like she has hope only to get kicked down? Watching her think she can have you drives me crazy. We need to teach her a lesson." At that moment, I realized I had long since stopped caring about Jenny, but this time, she had barged into my quiet life, and I felt like my future was about to be ruined. My partner's suggestion seemed more and more reasonable. Chapter 8. My partner had been lying down for 2 days, barely regaining some strength. He said he was going to fight for my future, so that same day he went to meet with Jenny about a partnership. I heard that Jenny seemed to come alive once she learned I had agreed to work with her, but all I could do was sneer. The woman who ignored all my pleas before, now seemed to be so emotionally affected by my every move. How could that not be laughable? The funniest part was that just as our project was nearing completion, she openly confessed her love for me right outside the office building I rented. Like a college student, she laid out a circle of heart-shaped candles, holding a cake and flowers. She kept shouting, "Angelo, marry me," from downstairs. At that moment, I was upstairs in the beautiful boss's shop, ordering a celebratory cake. When I heard the shouting from outside, I jumped in shock. The beautiful boss immediately sensed something was off. "Jenny's husband, could it be you?" I placed my finger to my lips, signaling her to keep it down. "Is this really necessary?" The boss put down the knife she was using to cut the cake. Ugh, she's really messing up my business. She said this while walking outside. I leaned over to the door but couldn't hear what they were saying. I only saw the boss pointing Jenny in the direction to leave, but Jenny refused to leave, even noticing that I was peeking through the door. She pushed past the boss and walked right up to me, offering me the flowers. Angelo, marry me. How ridiculous was that? When we first got married, we had nothing. Now, 5 years later, a woman was proposing to me, but the sad truth was, I didn't want anything from her anymore. I tossed her flowers aside, kicked over the cake, and left her with just one word: leave. Not a single extra word. I didn't want to say anything more to her. Whatever scheme my partner had come up with, it didn't even bring me any satisfaction before she made it all so disgusting. Jenny couldn't believe I was so heartless. She stood up, trying to grab me, but the beautiful boss stopped her. Stop embarrassing yourself. Didn't you hear him? He told you to leave. Jenny was meek in front of me but acted tough with others. What's it to you? She looked the boss up and down, then raised her voice at me. If you're not marrying me, is it because of some cake shop owner? What could she offer you? Do you think the cakes she sells can even pay the rent? I was so furious I turned around, ready to scold her, but I saw the beautiful boss shaking her finger in front of Jenny. You've got it wrong. My cake shop doesn't even have rent to pay. This building, it's mine. I'm just a little hobbyist who enjoys making cakes, she added. I was stunned. I had no idea that the beautiful boss was my landlord. I double-checked the contract, and she confirmed that it was her mother's name on it. Her mother was out fishing in the Pacific, so all the business at home had been handed over to her. Technically, she wasn't lying. I widened my eyes in surprise and then grabbed all the cakes from her shop, and I didn't pay. But the next day, I returned the money and explained that yesterday was just a joke. I knew she wasn't hurting for money, so I left a little decorative item in her cake shop as a thank you gift for her help. The boss didn't say much, but then she asked me, did you want her out of the picture? She was referring to the conversation my partner and I had about how to handle Jenny, and since we often spoke with her, she had picked up on a few things. She said, your approach is too gentle. Let me help you get her out and still make her pay you for the trouble. My partner immediately agreed, saying, she's bullied you for years. Asking for emotional damages wouldn't be too much, right? I thought about it and agreed. When the beautiful boss got to work, she was unstoppable. The next day, she took off her usual bare apron and came to my office in a business suit. I was completely taken aback. My assistant, clutching my arm, was so excited she couldn't speak. My only comment was, so cool. The boss took care of Jenny, and within 3 days, Jenny announced her exit from the South City market. Before leaving, she came to ask me, did you make her do this to me? I didn't answer directly, but Jenny just smiled. It's fine, as long as this makes you happy. I'll accept whatever happens. I never realized Jenny was such a masochist. Jenny, look ahead. We're done. She gave a bitter smile, nodded slightly, and turned to leave. After that, Jenny never bothered me again. My partner and I, under the boss's Spartan guidance, quickly moved out of the office building and officially started our own company. We held our celebration party in her cake shop, transforming the little cafe that usually smelled of cream and coffee into a spicy hot pot restaurant. Her shop still had the same annoying tablet, playing those unpleasant news programs. The news reported that Jenny, the president of Lin Group, resigned after her company went bankrupt and was restructured. I turned off the news and switched to a popular comedy show. Amid the laughter coming from the tablet, the three of us raised our glasses. Here's to our bright future, forever shining.